Around the world, people live different lives, doing different things that are unique and make us who we are, writing our own stories and learning new things along the way. We all learn different things. We all face different challenges and obstacles, but manage to get through them one way or another. We as humans go through our own journeys, and we learn as we build our own resilience. No matter how much we get beat down, what matters is how we get back up. And everyone loves a good story. Welcome to the Neil Coutts Show.
Yeah, well, what is it? It's about living in the now, not worrying about what you have in the future. That's a lot of things that we have, man, that we have in the West. Yeah, the West is all about the car we can save up to get, the holiday we want to go on, where in the East, they don't really have that as much, but what they do have and take advantage of is family.
That's it. It's the appreciation for what they've got. Like people will watch, and I have this all the time with my mates when I talk to them about South America, is they see movies and they kind of think it's a movie scenario. And it's like, nah, like I was born there. I'll tell you about the kidnappings. I'll tell you about all the shootings. I'll tell you like the reality of what it's like over there still.
Oh, wow. So kidnappings is a big thing?
Oh, mate, my parents almost tattooed my sister and I as kids so that we could have something to identify us if we ever got kidnapped.
Damn, that's hectic. Because I know in the Philippines it's a big thing because I had an ex-missus whose parents were missionaries in the Philippines. Yeah. And one of the things that was made clear to them when they went to do work in those sort of countries is that the Christian congregation, or what would you say, the organization that helps facilitate the role for these missionaries would say, we don't pay ransoms. So if you go over there, it's on your own back. Yeah?
Yeah, like to give you, the school I went to as a kid, you had to have a signed register of who could pick you up. The school had armed security guards. If you weren't the person on that list, you couldn't pick up the kid. Doesn't matter if you're an auntie or an uncle. If you hadn't been pre-assigned and confirmed and like verified, you couldn't pick up the kids because kidnapping's, it's just an easy way for people to, it's an opportunistic thing at the moment over there still because people are living in horrible conditions and there's not that much help from the government. So what do? You find a way to make ends meet.
Yeah. So what country were you born in?
I was born in Ecuador and then my dad's from Iran, but he left Iran when he was young because of the war that was broken out in there as well.
Oh, wow. What was his motivation to move to Ecuador?
Yeah, so he bounced around for a while, ended up going to university in Spain, already knew the language, and then they just ended up at some point in South America and decided to stay there, and that's where he met my mom.
Oh, wow. And how long did you live in Ecuador for?
6 years.
All right, so from birth to 6, and then came out to Australia?
We went to America first. So Ecuador had been in civil war with Peru, I think it was. And the government knew they were about to pretty much lose everything. So they did the dodgy things they do. They hiked up the interest rates like 300%. People lost their businesses overnight. And we were like, well, if we're going to have to start over again, why do it in a place we know where we doubt the government's going to kind of be fixed with this revolution? So,
okay. So how long did you spend in the States for before did you come to Australia after the States?
Yeah, so my whole mum's side of the family pretty much left at the same time. I had one cousin and one uncle that stayed in South America because she worked in the government, was trying to make a difference. And then the rest of the family was like, let's try somewhere else. So they all moved to like Florida and they're all still over there. And then my dad's side of the family didn't go to America, came to Australia and was like, Australia's a great place to start over from nothing. So we were like, okay, let's give that a try.
So did you find, you did spend some time in America at all?
About a year, close to a year. Yeah.
So do you still remember that? Like that 1 year where you were there?
Not too much. Like I've gone back a lot because I used to go back in Christmas and stuff to visit family and spend it over there. But in terms of my childhood, like even South America, I have very few memories. Like for me, my memory it's funny because I do like random memory challenges and stuff. But when it comes to memory of my childhood, nah.
Fair enough. Like what is it about, like if you don't mind me asking, that you wish not to remember, I guess?
In terms of South America, I think it was seeing the acceptance of what the reality was and just the normal way of life and knowing somewhere inside that, you know what, there's got to be something more to this. This isn't the way that I want to live my whole life and then bring up kids and like that whole idea as a kid of watching my parents have that fear of kidnappings are a reality. What are we going to do if that situation? And like real conversations about that type of thing of preparing the kids. Like if this situation happens, do this. Like the equivalent of that over here is like, oh, don't talk to strangers. It's a very like vanilla kind of level thing compared to the reality of over there.
Yeah, I remember once I was in the market, Danny Market, and this old lady, I think she was with her granddaughter, and she's like, hold on to me, some man or some stranger might want to steal you away. And I just saw it back and I go, hang on, that, when my parents said it to me, didn't think too much of it, but the reality of life is that it does happen, and it must be a scary thing. And I think for yourself, your parents were preparing yourself for it.
Pretty much. It's a reality. So, you can either stick your head in the sand or you prepare for those things. And I think that's one of the things that I always looked up to with my parents. It's like, and I kind of learned this when I started studying a lot of Stoicism. It's prepare for the worst, not because you want to be a doomsday prepper or have a horrible mindset, but so that if it happens, it never shocks you. It doesn't surprise you because you've already considered what you would do in that situation.
Yeah, because it's quite easy to go into shock. If you haven't watched a movie Taken where Liam Neeson's telling his daughter, you're pretty much going to freak out, but just remember certain events because
it's exactly that.
Yeah. No. Look, I've already started recording, but look, I want to thank you very much for your time. But
that's a good, mate.
I do take it that coming to Australia really gave you a new lease of life, yeah?
It did. Like when we got here, we lived in this tiny little unit where my grandparents shared a room, my auntie and uncle shared another room, and then my parents and my sister all shared one room. We came here with nothing, saw my parents kind of go through that struggle at a point in my life where I was old enough to actually recognize what was going on. And I saw how hard they had to work to essentially give us those opportunities. So it was like, okay, well, this is what you need to do to get ahead. You need to work. Yeah.
So did you have much trouble assimilating into Australian culture, or did it have its own challenges as well?
Mate, when I first got here, I still couldn't speak English. So I got brought into school because my parents didn't want me to lose a year trying to learn. They're like, you'll learn it at school. And I actually had somebody translating everything the teacher would say back to me. Luckily, there was 2 kids in the class as well who spoke Spanish literally spent most of prep just like learning English and still trying to get through the year. And then, slowly kind of got into it.
It's challenging, but you will pick it up over time, I guess, being a kid, because like if I went to go learn a new language, it's not that easy, man. Like I've been thinking about it.
As kids, you pick it up easily. Like I think the hardest thing was, when there was things happening in the world and my dad being from Iran, like overseas, there was that stereotype, especially during that time. I actually went to America for 6 months to go to school over there. And during that time, that's where you start to see really that discrimination. But that's one of the reasons why I loved Australia. Like the reality is over here, everybody I felt was a lot more accepting. And I think like for my parents making the choice to come here, take it.
Yeah, you must, you'll always pay them back for making that choice, I guess, because you've gotten to see, not like most of us, like I was born here, so, I don't really understand true racism. And I've heard stories like, especially with South Africa as well, they had apartheid and stuff. And then, what you see in the movies, and you think sometimes it's just the movies, but it is real, isn't it, in America, yeah?
Yeah, completely. And it's just fear. It's fear and misunderstanding. It's a lack of education. When they get bombarded with a certain amount of information from one place, that's the only thing they have to go off. And a lot of it is like inherited, and I truly believe this. It's like our inherited beliefs that haven't formed as our own ideas yet. We are based on the beliefs of our parents, the society, the culture, and the family we get brought up in. And you get to a point where you start to form your own ideas. You get to a point where you start to decide, this is the person I want to be, this is what I want to believe in, and that's where you start to move out. But I don't think that happens that early on, especially at school. I think it takes a little bit more time later in school maybe, but
Well, that's the thing, it's conditioning and what you get as you grow through life, and the different things around you that happen, which, like you say, create that idea of what life is. Yeah.
And it's to bring it back to trading, it's exactly the same. We start off learning something from whatever platform, could be YouTube, mentors, or anything. And that is all you believe about the space because that's all the information you got. It's only when you've been exposed to enough that you understand, okay, this is for me, this isn't for me. I trade like this, I don't trade like that. And I think that's one of those turning points for a lot of people. They get to that point where they realize I've got all this information Now I need to make it my own.
So how did you get into trading? Like, where did that all start for you?
Yeah, so to give you a little bit of background, always been a hard worker, 16 years old, did part-time work cleaning floors at a factory, started with that, worked with my parents' business all the time, and I knew I was working hard, but never getting what I thought I was worth.
Yeah.
The self-worth I had for what my time should have been paid at that age, like nobody wants to pay you what you think you're worth.
Yeah,
so
that's right, yeah.
I always wanted to try and find something where I felt that was going to give it back to me. Thought it was going to be a business owner, so started my own business later on. But when it came to trading, I had a friend who was like, hey, you know, I learned this skill, I've started to do this, and I'm seeing returns proportional to not the time I'm putting in, but the effort I've put in to learn this, to get good at it, and then growing my account. So I was like, that sounds right up my alley. And this was like back in 2017, got into it a bit with my friend, spent 5 months on YouTube trying to teach myself. And it was 2017 where you could like swipe your phone down to refresh your portfolio.
Yeah.
You just watch it go up hundreds or thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Like I remember being at my friend's Bucks party on New Year's. We're sitting around the fire, literally just with the phone going like this. And they're like, okay, this will pay for tonight. So yeah, that was pretty much the start. And since then, there's no end in sight.
Yeah, no, I remember, the 2017, 2018 bull season, and then what we just went through just recently. It had more of an impact on me this time round than it did before. But like you're saying, because the markets were just going up, and I understood it was going to come down from my experience in 2018.
Yeah.
But you could almost feel like you're invisible if it's your first time, and you know, just seeing those dollar figures go up,
And I think that's what scares so many people out of the crypto space is they go through that, especially if they come into that space during that time. They see the ability to make money, and then they see the market crash. Like what did it do? Like 80% in 2018, 88% or something, that it fell over a year.
Yeah.
That whole time it freaks them out. But if you spent that whole time learning the skill, refining the skill, preparing yourself for the next bull run. The next bull run we had from what was it, 3.5 to the 60K was 1200%, I think it went up. So if you spend that time just learning to then benefit on the bull run, that's how you actually make your money in trading. It's like you wait for those opportunities.
Yeah. Well, I like to think, you know, trading, like for myself, like, because I got into trading at the beginning of last year, but I knew that it wasn't going to, you know, at the start I was making crazy money, and as quickly as I made it was as quickly as I lost it. And then I heard someone say, you got to basically invest in your money or invest in yourself. And that is through education. But now I try to take the perception of I'm now in a 4-year apprenticeship and I'm 1 year over that. So, you know, the goal is right. So I set up that expectation by year 4 that I should have really gotten a really good grasp of everything, and that I should be in a good flow where I could start to create that financial freedom, because I guess that's all we want at the end of the day,
100%. And the fact you say apprenticeship is perfect, because it's like the way I explain it to people is like you wouldn't go learn how to be a Sparky and straight away work on a live fuse box. Like that's not your first step. But people with trading, they watch a YouTube video and they think, yep, this person outlined it. They gave us the magic indicator that's going to solve everything, tell us when to buy and sell, and off they go. And they get wrecked. And then they get disheartened by crypto and don't want anything to do with it.
Well, that's the thing. And no one really, the people that come into the crypto space to make money, they don't really have an understanding of how the markets work. You know, we all know that, some of our super money goes in, you know, for people to trade it to make, you know, profits to pay back into your super through these hedge funds or superannuation companies. But when you actually do it yourself, it's not as easy as it thought. You know what I mean? Like,
well, if it was, we wouldn't be in this situation where everybody's trying to do this just now. Everybody would have been doing it 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Is it the hardest, easiest way to make money?
Mate, like I've said, I've gone to uni, got myself 2 degrees. I thought that's what I wanted to do. Spent a year studying, started my own business. All of those compared to the ability to sit on my phone, sit on the computer from anywhere in the world, I'd say to me, this is some of the easiest ways to make money once you invest the time.
Yeah.
And like we see in crypto, it's not even just trading. All of crypto has so many opportunities, from staking, DeFi, NFTs. There's so many ways to make money from the comfort of being comfortable and relaxed.
Yeah, it's interesting how you say that, because the whole crypto space, right? Is it going to take take over the whole offline world of finance and everything that's actually happening. Because my theory is all this crypto space is all behind the blockchain. It's all about the blockchain. And in reality, all the blockchain really is a database of information. And yeah, like it's. Do you think it's going to take over everything? Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you think it's going to like fully? Because like I wanted to ask you about the NFT space as well, because the NFT space at the moment it's just all paintings and drawings and stuff like that.
That's how it started.
Yeah.
That's how it started. But you've definitely seen it evolve through utility now.
Yeah.
You're talking about projects that create yield for holding them. You're talking about projects that give you access. Florida, I think it was about maybe 2 weeks ago, was the first place where they have now used an NFT to transfer the ownership of a property. Wow. So they're using it in real estate now as well.
Yeah. So is there a company that's actually...
There's one company that has now done it. They're the first official company to use it as a transfer of the property.
So you're saying the deeds of a property is now held on an NFT, and
so they're going to start using that to essentially interact between the buyers and sellers.
That's interesting. I just wonder what's going to happen the day someone's phone that's holding the NFT gets hacked. You know what I mean? And then
this is where it comes down to how they're storing it as well. Like it won't just be as easy like here's your deed, have it on your MetaMask and that's it. Like they've probably got their own database integration, but it's the ownership rather than being sent to a bank or an entity like that where it's completely held in their books. You hold it and they probably just hold a copy of it. So you officially become the owner of your own information and your own deed rather than that of the bank, even though they recognize it.
Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to, basically seeing the whole space grow, because it's not only that, it's also, like people earning interest or like you say, staking and stuff like that, yield farming. Like I'm wondering how long is it till the banks really starts taking advantage of that? Do you know what I mean? Because how much interest do you get in your own bank account each year for holding, $100,000? Not a lot.
What is it, like 1 to 2% if you're lucky? If inflation being 1.5 on the average. Like you're paying to let your money sit there. It's not working for you. There's places in crypto where anywhere from 7 to 14% just for letting the equivalent of fiat for anybody who doesn't know crypto, but like a stable coin, just for letting your money sit there in, let's say, US dollars, anywhere from 7 to 14% return. Exactly the same as you park your money in the bank.
Yeah.
These are on some of the largest platforms like Crypto.com that renamed the Staples Center. They just signed a 5-year partnership with the AFL here in Australia.
Oh, wow.
Like you're talking about companies that have legitimacy, that all of a sudden are showing you what's possible in terms of earnings from savings, as opposed to what the banks have been giving us for the last God knows how long.
Well, I've always thought because of inflation, right, you're actually watching your money shrink in value by storing it in a bank account because there is no interest or anything. And then, inflation's, making our money worthless, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't keep that much in the bank. I don't need to. I don't see the reason to. I've got very secure ways that I've stored my fiat or my stable coins to earn that passive income that normally I would just let sit in the bank. It's about making our money work for us. Like you said, it's about financial freedom. And to do that, you've got to make the smartest, safest choice at the same time. But right now, to me, that's crypto.
Yeah, it was a Greg Cardone. The trick is, right, that you might work hard for your money, but then you let your money work for itself, and then the rewards you take from that is what you use to buy the nice things for yourself. You don't take the money you work hard for and buy rubbish with it. You know what I mean? You let the money work for itself, and then you take that and buy good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like for me with crypto, when I started with a tiny account. I saw, luckily it was during the bull run, so I saw what was possible, added more, saw it grow. Like most people in that time, wish I'd taken more profit, but it was a lack of education. But I saw the potential and it was like, okay, well, if I can make my money work for me like this and earn more than I would in a week in a couple trades, then it's like, okay, this is a skill worth getting good at. Let's learn how this space works. And it wasn't just trading. It was like, what can I learn about the crypto space to be prepared for what's coming? Because it's not just going to be trading. It's not just going to be NFTs, DeFi, all that has evolved from crypto, but there's always going to be something new that's going to come out that's going to give us more opportunities, what I believe, in the finance space.
So with all this space growing and everything, right, especially with your journey in trading as well, how did you deal with the emotions of the market, or how do you deal with your own emotions? It's very easy to get excited, like the MBH project, Meta Bounty Hunters. I was I was going to buy one and then just sit on it and just, I was happy to basically have a first gen NFT. And then I thought, the market or the community wanted to set a baseline of 1.5 ETH, even though we paid 0.65 ETH.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, wow, maybe I'll just buy two. And then I'll sell one off and then, get my money back and still hold one. But then, Milan really put things into perspective, as in, at the end of the day, it comes down to the individual seller, what they decide to do. And so it really made me reassess the situation, which we're not always going to, step back and think about it, especially when we get all hyped and emotional. Like, what did you do? What were some of the practices that you employed to basically manage your emotions, whether it's trading or going through the space?
Yeah, look, there's been a few things. Luckily, one of my degrees was psychology, so I had a bit of a head start from that.
Yeah.
But probably one of the biggest things for me was like stoicism, reading a lot of stoicism. The whole basis is, we can't control the things that happen in the world to us or around us, but we control how we react to them. So one of the biggest things for me with trading was when I actually started to learn the structure behind how to do this safely. And, they teach you, look at the percentage gains, not the dollars, assign 1% risk. And I'm a data guy, so I collected my data and saw, okay, over a month, a good data set, I can see that I'm making money. So let's break that down to, if I made X amount a month and I took 100 trades, well, then I know that every single trade, whether it's a winner or a loser, is paying me something.
Yeah.
So I shifted things from being a negative to just being a positive, because I know over the long run, they're all positives because it's getting me towards my goal. And it let me control my emotion to those losses. So I wasn't as emotional in revenge trading or, just putting too much on the account to try and grow it back quicker when you have a bad run, because I know over the long run, I'm going to be in a good position because I've got the data to tell me that.
Yeah. So did you ever get FOMO into a trade? Because a lot of people, how do you tame the horses, do you know what I mean, before they jump? Because it's quite easy to click the button and it's like, you look at the market, right, and it's going down. Yeah, you see supports down here, but the thing is, like, sometimes it doesn't always hit support, you know what I mean? It just takes off, but then you're like, to have that good discipline, but without missing out, because no one wants to miss out, yeah?
For a while, I'd put it down to what I used to call my FOMO account. And what my FOMO account was, it was an account that had like $50 in it. That's it.
Okay, yeah.
So I knew that if I wanted to try, because you convince yourself, you tell them, oh, this could be a new idea, a new strategy that's going to work. I'll leave what works on the side, but this could be something different, why I want to jump in right now.
Yeah.
So I'd use that account. And by having the two separate accounts and the two different balances, I could see how quickly I lost the $50 using my FOMO money to tell me, like, what are you doing? Like, none of this ever works. Why do you keep trying?
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, we'll leave the FOMO account just on zero and just focus on the stuff that works.
Oh, that's crazy. But that's not a bad idea. Like, it's almost like your gambling account, because, FOMO is not really taking your analysis seriously and you're just jumping on it because you're emotional. You don't want to miss out. 100%. So, having that account aside and not putting too much, at least if you want to and you feel like, you're going to throw
it's a slippery slope there, because if you start doing it too much, you're building a habit that you're almost reinforcing by continuing to do. But the reason why I had it split up was because it allowed me to actually see the balance of specifically the fact that when I do these FOMO things, this is the result. If you have the account together, you mix it up with your winners and you're like, oh, it kind of works. Maybe it does work. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll keep going. If I could just see the fact that it was losing money, I'm like, well, I'm not here to lose money. So why am I doing it?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like because I don't know if it's framing your psychology, but it's like you see it's not making you money. And like you said, you now at zero, but every time you think about FOMOing into a trade, you can just look at an account and go, I would have done something like this before with that account, but look where it's gotten me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think the worst part about this space is, like, we talk about probability. Like, you don't know whether your trade is going to be a winner or a loser for that individual trade, even if you know in the month you'll make money. And that applies the same to the FOMO account. At some point, even with your FOMO entry, you're going to hit a winner. Probability says that's going to happen. And you're going to instantly think this works and reward yourself and be like, I'll keep doing this because I had a winner. And that's where you need to see, like, everything as a whole rather than an individual trade.
But that's why data collecting is important, yeah? So you can see how, FOMO aside, when you actually do structured trades, you can actually see the long-term possibility, yeah? Because it's averaging out each month all your trades together to, obviously you want a success percentage rate, yeah?
You got to find out what you're good at. What works for me isn't going to work for the next person. Even though we teach everything we know to whoever is willing to listen. But at the end of the day, you've got to find something that's going to work for you, to your personality, to your psychology, to your lifestyle, to your work commitments, family commitments. If you're going to be flat out busy, then you're not a scalper because you're not going to have time to be in front of the computer watching the trade. If you've got all the time in the world and you're impulsive, probably swing trading isn't for you because you're probably going to overmanage your positions.
Yeah.
And you only work out what you're good at when you start to see patterns.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks trading is about numbers. Trading is about patterns, both in the charts and your results. You see that you're good at formation trading, focus on that. You see you're bad at swing trading, stop that for a month and see the difference in your account balance. Every little percent makes the difference. If you can cut out a negative percent and gain a positive, it makes all the difference at the end of the day.
So really what you're saying is find out your forte and then, work on that. I think
cut out the crap. Cut out the stuff you're not good at.
Well, I was like, I think it's Jared Tedler. He was like saying, you have different versions of your game. You have your A game, B game, C game. And I think it was like your C game is your strategy or what you're good at that you do all the time that makes you money. Then you have your B and A's, which may not always make you money, but it's those games where you think you got the best game, and sometimes it does work and you make astronomical games, but you've always got to have your C game, which is something that you is trial and tested and makes you money on a consistent basis. Yeah
100%. Like I think that was one of the biggest things for me. Like I said, Donnie was a mentor to me. I looked up to him a lot, loved his trading style, but it doesn't fit in with me. I'm a nerd. I like sitting in front of the computer. I like being active. So I need something that's a bit more stimulating, and I feel like I'm engaged in the process. As much as I love sitting in the trade, being able to walk away and know it's going to make money by the time I wake up, I also like my scalping. And I knew that I had to come up with things that would also feed into that and allow me to use that because it's my personality to actually enjoy what I do, and I do.
Oh, that's good. So do you get many people that go to you, Shams, what are you doing, man? Trading is just gambling, man. Do you get that a lot?
I still get my parents who tell me occasionally to go get a real job. They're like, oh, what about the psychology? And I'm like, I'm kind of using it in some sense. And it's just a lack of education. They're actually, they've come around. They understand it a lot more since I've given them some crash courses. I actually bought them MBH each, and I told them, you just wait, you'll see. So yeah, I think it was, both my parents and my sister ended up getting one as well. So
have you ever thought of getting into trading psychology as such, being that you've gotten, what is it, a degree in psychology? What is it that you learned? I think it was a Monash I saw on your profile.
Yeah, so I've got my degree as a paramedic from Monash, and then I did psychology after that.
Okay, so
bounced around a little bit, but I wanted to actually get back and do some behavioral economics. Okay. Essentially just want to keep tying up that psychology back into trading and finance, and then seeing how we can share that with the community.
So have you ever thought about writing books or anything, or writing a report?
I tend to do a lot of like summaries and ideas, and like any book I read, I wonder if I've got one lying around that I dog ear them, I write in them, I make notes, I do like summaries of my books afterwards. And the idea is at some point, literally just pulled the gold nuggets out of all the mentors and people I've learned from, and just being like, here's a little quick smash of what I think has a lot of value.
So what are some of your favorite books that you like to read?
I have a bit of diehard fan for a lot of science fiction as well, so a lot of fantasy.
Well, more trading related. Trading
definitely Mark Douglas, Van Tharp. So Van Tharp does a lot of statistics and data collection and numbers, system analysis. So some very dry, boring stuff for other people, but I'm an Excel nerd. I'll sit in front of an Excel worksheet happily.
But like, when it comes to reading, is it important for people to not just rely on YouTube videos? Obviously, get into reading some books. Like, is there anything besides Mark Douglas? I think Mark Douglas is like a staple for everyone trading in the zone. But outside of that, is there any books you would recommend beginners to read?
Yeah, I'd say it's a Total Club by Curtis. I can't remember his last name, Curtis.
Oh yeah, I'm reading that book at the moment, The Turtle Trader.
Yeah, Turtle Trader. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different ones that essentially the Turtle Traders wrote. But I think the Turtle Trader is probably the more famous from the students. That's one that's going to put into perspective that this is something that anybody can learn. People think that, they're not smart enough to do this, don't know maths enough. The Turtle Trader was this idea that these two guys essentially made a bet that was like, we can teach this to anybody. The other person's like, trading is something that you're either good at or you're not. So they got people from all different spaces, trading experience, no trading experience, casino gamblers, teachers, and pretty much selected a bunch of people to be like, we're going to teach you our system. You learn our system, how to apply it, and then just rinse and repeat. And these people went on to make millions of dollars just reinforcing what they learned and applying it.
Yeah, no, I remember I only read the first chapter last night, but it was just interesting. Like, yeah, they tried to get different walks of life, but I think they had to go. They had I think it was 1,000 applicants.
Yeah,
wasn't it? And then it was they only took 40 on. They came from diverse backgrounds. I think there was a couple of existing traders.
Yeah.
But majority of people, they were just mathematically analytical. And that's what was one of the prerequisites of picking people was mathematical, analytical type people. And
the same reason they chose casino gamblers. It's about pattern recognition.
Yeah.
No different to counting cards and just looking at patterns.
Yeah, that's right. Professional backgammon and something else. But what's your tips for growing a small account?
Like you said, it's an apprenticeship. You're paying for these lessons with that account because you're going to make mistakes. People focus so much on the success being, I'm going to double or triple my account, as opposed to I'm learning a skill that I know down the road is going to give me the ability to do that. So I think the biggest thing is treat that account almost like your enrollment fee into a course. Yeah. That slowly your university is just going to take little bits from while you're learning.
Yeah.
Don't look at it like the university is paying you right now to study. The university or trading is going to pay you later on. But at the start, this is what you're paying to learn this. So start small and pay what you're willing to lose at the start.
Well, yeah, I always say that whenever you put money into trading or investing, only apply as much money as you're willing to drop on the ground and not break a sweat over.
Yeah.
Rather than getting gun-ho, and like we say again, being emotional.
Mistakes happen. You push the wrong button, you think you've closed the trade, you might have opened it up the other way. It happens to everybody. I'll give you an example, complete transparency. I think it was probably, I reckon even 6 months to 8 months ago, I did a stupid thing. Had a long day, had a big night the night before, trading till early hours in the morning, hadn't really slept. When I'm like that, I don't trade because I know my head's not in the best space. So I'll do learning, TA, whatever it is. And I was moving funds around.
Yeah.
And I moved my funds from the Valus network to what I thought was the Binance network to ship it into Binance Wallet.
Yeah.
What I actually did was just transfer straight from the Valus network to the Binance Wallet, which you can't do because it doesn't support the network.
Yeah.
So I have a good amount of money hidden somewhere in Binance that I can't access till they support the Valus network. And when it do, I'm just going to have a nice little payday sitting there. But it just, those things happen. So you got to be willing to learn from your mistakes and put systems in place so you don't do it again. For me, now that I've got a very clear structure for if I want to transfer funds like that, so it never happens again. But yeah.
I think one of the things I've learned is, be well rested before you do anything. Don't do anything when you're not well rested because the smallest of mistakes can be quite costly, yeah?
Yeah, it's about that mental check-in. Like you talked about, emotional trading isn't the way to trade. So if you sit there and you're angry, you sit there and you're tired, you're frustrated, you had an argument with your partner, you've had a bad day, your boss yelled at you, that's not the day to trade. It's the day to learn and do everything else around trading. Like you said, reading trading books, trading psychology, reviewing your charts, go do the review of all the trades you took last week, see what you did right, what you did wrong. Last thing you want to be doing is playing with money. It's like going to the casino after having a full day of drinking, being angry because you just got into a fight and then deciding, right now's the best time to play roulette.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. So do you ever get paralysis analysis? What's it? Is it not? No, analysis paralysis.
Paralysis by overanalysis.
Yeah, whatever it is.
So you're talking to somebody who went down the rabbit hole of wanting to write my own indicators, trying to find the magic indicator, signing up to paid indicators, having combinations of 10 indicators at the time. I've been down all those rabbit holes. And you get to the point where there's so many signals, you get confirmation bias. You start to look at the stuff that's telling you the story that you want to be there, while ignoring the fact there's things screaming at you telling you the otherwise, and then you're stuck in the middle wondering which ones to listen to. And, that's the reason why I think learning from Jason was one of the biggest things for me, because of how simple he kept it. And, you watched him post some of his results of how much money he was making using the absolute basics of trading and mastering those. People want to learn all the indicators, all the fancy stuff. I'm somebody who likes deep diving into those, so I do that. But I also completely understand that in trading, if you master your base, your fundamentals, that's what's going to make you the money. You can't add all those things without that foundation. Yeah,
because I feel like you can develop all these strategies, and then when you look at a chart, it's like, which strategy do you use? And I'm like, for myself personally, I'm thinking about getting a cue card and putting each strategy down, and then going, if I'm going to pick up one card, obviously it has a trade plan. But do you ever get overwhelmed with having too many strategies?
I pretty much did that with my first trade plan. When I first built it out, besides the mental check-ins, the rules and everything, every single strategy I had clear step-by-steps of what I look for, what type of market, what conditions, a grading system to say that if there was some things there, but not how good of a strategy it is on that. And then examples, screenshot after screenshot of examples. And I think I would have had at least 40, 50 pages of from my trade plan to all the screenshots and running through everything. And then it's okay, now that I have all of these, which one actually works? Which one actually gives me the most profit, as well as the time I want to not have to be in front of the screen just waiting for that opportunity? And that's where I got into my formation trading. I realized these strategies are simple. The rules are simple to follow. I think one of the biggest things is with so many indicators and so many signals, like you're saying with paralysis, it makes deciding when it actually meets your rules a lot harder. By having it simple, especially with the triangles, it's if it hits here, stop loss goes here, take profit goes there. That's it. It's done. So it makes it a lot easier for me to take the trades I should be taking.
Yeah. So what is it about these triangles that you love so much? Because I hear that they're your forte, yeah?
Yeah. So I went through a period where the market was perfect, giving you the best setups on high time frames. There was trades I was landing that were 15-1. And I was just sitting there going, yeah, these triangles, if you catch them in the right wave, because I also use Elliott waves with them, if you catch them in the right progression of waves, these things can carry forth and really give you some amazing returns and some really good risk to rewards. To manage the positions with these triangles and actually just adjust so you have zero risk on the table when the first take profit gets hit, meant straight away, very quickly, I knew whether my trade was going the way I wanted it to go, and that it's not something I needed to worry about because now it's a free trade.
Yeah. So with these triangles, are you playing them for the breakout, or are you playing within the triangles?
So I play them within.
Pardon?
So I play them within. Yeah. And the analogy or the reasoning here is I had a teacher explain to me once, trying to learn something at school is almost like trying to catch a speeding train. The longer you wait in school, the harder it is to get on this train, because it's already left the station, picked up speed as you go through the years. Yeah. In a formation, as we're bouncing in there, it's like the train took off at the start. And then as it's picking up speed, when you get that breakout, a lot of the times we see it shoots off and you miss the breakout, doesn't come back for the retest. Yeah. So I'm looking to catch it a couple stations back, when only the people who got the insider information that this thing's going to start going that way are waiting for that opportunity. And then you ride that initial momentum up. And that's why I mean, if the formation plays out, it's very quick for you to know that the idea was right, because you're getting in just before the breakout happens, moves in your way, you lock in the profit, and straight away, cool, the idea was right, look for the next one.
So what you're saying is, as soon as it enters the triangle, you're getting in on the lowest point of the triangle, and then you're watching the momentum bounce around before it breaks out, yeah?
Not the lowest point. So I need the triangle to form. So for that to happen, you have to have at least 2 touches to essentially create the trend. But if the trend's already coming from a larger trend, you have that trend to, let's say, get in on the second touch at the bottom on the bullish one. But otherwise, I'm looking for that third touch before the breakout while we're still in, and just trade it up to the top and watch it run.
Yeah, no, I will definitely go back over this interview and I'll have to break it down and try to apply it myself, because it's a good theory, you know, like if you're in there and you sort of got that idea, it's forming, and then, basically you're waiting for it to break out, or if it hasn't broken out, you've taken some profit within that triangle, yeah?
No, it's not within. It's usually outside. But the thing is, like, because of how you trade, so you kind of nailed it. You get an idea, you get a story that you create, a narrative about what you think price would do, because what price is doing is just a story that it's telling us. So because you're trading a triangle, you believe it's you're getting price constricting and it's going to expand and explode out and you're going to get that breakout. Now, the only invalidation then is going to be if you create market structure that invalidates that, which is where you put your stop loss. So like I said, there's such clear steps and rules for formation trading like that that just make it nice and carefree and relaxing to not have to worry about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess so, yeah. No, I'm just having a look at this. I was just thinking, do you have any practices that to help you keep your mental game, you know, like with trading, you know, the whole psychology? Because when you're into trading and, you know, you're waiting for these triangles to play out, or you're waiting for any trade to play out, basically, you know, it can be mentally taxing. Like, I know it's like, because you're a scalper, I love looking at the charts. I have too much time on my day, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate. But anyway, the whole point is that, you know, I'm not in front of the computer a lot. And, you know, you're always alt-tabbing between your charts or your trades, and it can be really taxing. Like, do you have any little tricks or practices that you do to help you keep on top of your mental game?
Yeah, look, I'm somebody that always wants to feel like I'm learning and moving forward. So like I said, to me, trading isn't just about placing trades on the chart. So I always want to be like, okay, what am I learning about this space? So that I always have something where I can turn away from my trading so it's not just nonstop and still feel like I'm in the space learning something. Besides that, made myself a nice little rule where it's not going to be the first thing I do in the mornings. I don't want to wake up, roll over to my phone and pull up TradingView. I want to know I'm getting up, spending time with my partner, having breakfast, feeling good. And then this is my job. This is what I do. This is how I make my money. So I want to make sure that I'm treating it in some sense like that so that I do have that balance.
So it's important to treat it like a job, you're saying it. Have a good solid routine. You know, the first couple of hours of your day is about spending time with loved ones, your partner. Do you go to the gym or anything? Do you get into any exercising?
It's about getting out, getting some sunshine to start the day. At the place I used to live at before this, it'd be get up, go to the beach, go for a swim, start the day in the freezing cold water, wake up.
Yeah, because it's quite easy to pick up your phone. And once you pick up your phone, like I do this sometimes. I've been doing quite a bit lately, actually. And I open up TradingView just to see, because I've got a couple of spot trades on and I just want to see where they're at. And then I'll jump off the phone. But the thing is, trying to be no technology in the morning is not easy, because I pick up my phone to see the time. And then that's where it spirals out.
I put my phone at the end of the night in my drawer in my desk. I know I don't need it. I use an alarm that's not my phone, so it's not an excuse for me to use it like that. It's little things like that. Like you work out the things that are tripping you up, create a system that's going to stop you from tripping up. If your phone's the thing tripping you up, make it so you can't get to your phone straight away. So
it's like, while you have strategies in training, you have strategies at life as well to basically attack the day.
Exactly. It's life hacks. It's exactly the same. Like, for instance, I'm horrible at drinking the amount of water I need. So what do? I go buy a 2-liter bottle, fill it up at the end of every single night, put it in the fridge. First thing I do, grab it out of the fridge. I know by the end of the day, this thing needs to be empty, no matter what.
I'm sort of similar. I go buy I know I shouldn't, but I like to go buy the cases of 24 bottles of water.
Yep.
And I have five out for the day. I have about 3 liters a day. And I do still have the 2-liter bottle. I think it's 1.5 liters, but I'll go fill up I'll take as many bottles and fill it up. And then my goal is to get through the bottles, the little bottles, the 600 ml bottles. And when I know I've done that, then I don't have to stress too much about drinking water, if you know what I mean.
It's the same thing that I do with books. I'll look at a book that I want to read and I'll be like, cool, I want to finish this book in 2 weeks. I'll look at the book, look at how many pages there are, and be like, cool, I know that every single day I need to read this many pages. Otherwise, I know I need to read double on the next day if I skip one.
And you don't want to do that, yeah?
I get obsessed with books when I sometimes, like when we had Johnny Wimbry on for the community, I bought the book just before, like that day before, and I think I was up till like 3 a.m. finishing it in one go. So
you love reading, don't you? It's not just about reading for learning.
I like reading as if I'm getting something from it, as if I'm moving forward. I don't like complacency. I don't feel like I don't want to feel like I'm stuck in some place. I want to feel like I'm always growing. So books, in some sense, is always going to teach me something.
Yeah.
Like if there's a word I don't know, I straight away look it up, make like a little mind palace, put it in there, and try to remember it and use it.
Yeah, because I'm sort of similar. I don't like reading as much, but I feel like at the moment I need to do some reading. It's just like because it's good for the brain, I guess, and we can't always be looking at screens, but just ever so absorbing as much information like you did yourself at the beginning of your trading journey, going down that rabbit hole, and just education. I think they said that, as long as you're learning, you're reducing the ability of having such, brain diseases in future, like dementia and stuff like that. Do you know much about that? Being from your psychology background?
There's definitely a lot of studies that show that stimulation and continued learning actually help promote a state of mind. I mean, obviously, you're going to have certain diseases that affect that you've got no control over, but they still suggest that stuff like this help. It's no different to like meditation. Yeah. That's one of the big things that I got from Jace and Paul is like, from Jason, start every single day with a motivational talk or something like that. When I sit at my desk and I start doing my things, the first thing I've got open is some sort of motivational talk playing in the background. Paul really got me into looking at, meditation differently as a way to, especially with the high stimulus that we are with charts, like there's always something happening. There's always something about to break out, always an opportunity there. Like you said, it's bloody hard to disconnect, and our partners hate that. I've had those conversations where my partners are like, you don't stop looking at your phone. I'm like, cool, I need a way to be able to switch that off, like a little stop button I hit. And, if you can do meditation and train yourself to actually do it to be able to stop the process you've had all day, for me, it's a great way to kind of end the day. Once I finished my work, once I finished my trading, to be like, this is going to be my reset button. This is where I'm disconnecting from this and being present here where I am now.
So was it hard for you to get into meditation with
so hard.
You're saying you're a scalper. A lot of scalpers seem to be wanting to be active.
Yeah, look, 100%. Meditation is probably one of the biggest challenges I still face in terms of practices that I want to have in my life. I watch Netflix at 1.5 speed. I watch YouTube at 2 speed for everything. My partner hates it because sometimes we forget it's set to 1.5 on Netflix. And then she's like, why does everybody sound funny? It's the way I study. It's the way I learn. But it highlighted to me, I need to be able to slow down. You got to have the other side. You burn yourself out otherwise. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm halfway through the, the Yellow Elephant by a memory champion. He's like, when things are actually faster, you actually get more of the information in. It's sort of like driving that he gave the example of when you're driving 100 or 110 Ks on the road, you're more focused on what's going around you on the road than when you're driving at 60 Ks or 50 Ks, you're a bit more casual and relaxed, so you don't take as much in. But I just thought about that last night. Like, I've got all these TV shows I want to watch, and the world of binge watching is becoming bigger and bigger, with, Netflix and all these other services just slamming out 8 episodes at once. I was like, because lately I've been watching some tutorials on 1.25, and I thought, why not do that with my movies, and then I can get through my movies quicker, yeah?
That was my reasoning, but my partner doesn't agree. She's like, if you're going to watch something, watch it to enjoy it. I'm like, but I am. It's just I get to enjoy more of it than you will.
Yeah, well, you get, because time is one of those things you can't get back. Time's the greatest value in life is time, not money. Money comes and goes, money can be made, but you can't get your time back. And, if you get more, the old saying goes, there's never enough hours in the day, yeah?
Yeah, and the other one's what? If you can't make money while you're asleep, you'll work till you die.
I always heard, money, sleeping's for the poor, yeah?
Yeah. A different way of looking at it, but I think that's the way my parents would have looked at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your parents, you really watched your parents work hard, through life. And I guess, through all your trading journey, you just want to be able to give back to them. So, yeah, they don't have to work hard forever, yeah?
That's the plan. We talk about having a why for what you do because it's got to be good enough to grind through the hard times, the week of losses, the doubt you're going to have, the bear market. And I remember we did exercises where you sit down and go through your why. Dean Graziosi, he's got a book, is it Millionaire Success Habits? Not sure which one it is, but he does an exercise where it's like 7 levels deep. Anybody that you ask, what's your why? A lot of people give the superficial, like, why do you want to go to the gym? Because I want to have a good body. And it's about breaking it down to being something that's going to get you out of bed on the day that it's raining, get you out of bed to not eat the crappy food, but actually make you eat something healthy. And you break it down by like, okay, well, why do you want to look good? Oh, because, I want to meet somebody. By myself, I want to meet a partner. Okay, well, why do you want to meet somebody? Oh, because I saw how happy my parents were. But why do you want to be as happy as your parents? Because I'm not as happy as them right now, type of thing. Yeah. So it's about breaking a superficial why into something that's so visceral in terms of the reaction it causes that it pushes you towards your goal. And for me, like when I watched my parents come to Australia with nothing, work their asses off to give my sister and I the opportunities we had, it's like, well, I don't want to make money to have money. I want to make money to give my parents the opportunities that they gave up to give my sister and I those opportunities in life. Yeah. So regardless of where they are in their life right now, I want them to have opportunities. So
yeah, it really comes like I always think about how hungry you are for it. And then I guess, the pain is what gives you the leverage to be able to be hungry enough to take some action. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's why 2017 for the people that stuck around, it's like you made a bucket load of money really quickly and you watched it disappear. And either it destroyed you or it made you hungry because you saw what was possible. Yeah. You're like, if this happened once in the space, what's to say it doesn't happen again?
Yeah. For me, I think what made me stick around was, when I think it was 2008 and I was sitting on the train, I think it was 2008 or 2006, somewhere in that period of time, I was working in a call center in the city and I've had this piece of crap laptop that I was using to make music on the way to work. And, I thought to myself, why can't I, have a digital work? Well, I was thinking, why can't there be a digital money which was created from a computer via the stress of equipment? Because if you have a $2,000 computer and you push it as hard as you can, it's got to be worth something or something's worthy got to come out of it, yeah?
Yeah.
So, that was my thought or my theory, and then basically about 4 or 5 years later, I hear Bitcoin in passing conversation, didn't take much notice of it. But then 2017, I seen a DJ, show photos of his mining rig because I originally got into mining, because I can build, I'm a techno-savvy person, I can build computers. And then, basically I got into it, mined some Monero, and just before getting the 5 Monero from the mining pool, because you had to, contribute enough or, as you were mining and solving the puzzles or going through the process of, getting the rewards for each block, you being part of a mining pool, you only get a small percentage of the reward that you get. So you had to accumulate so much to meet the threshold to get the deposit or to get the deposit into your account. So, by the time I finally got to the 5 Monero, which was the minimum threshold, Monero did a jump in the market. It went from something like $30 to about $150. And I was like, wow, I felt like I was printing money basically. And then, basically after that, the bull market died. I was so invested in the idea of what the potential of digital money is. I basically just hung around. I bought some stuff on the dip, as most people say, buy the dip, but did not put too much money to really hurt myself enough, but just enough to have some piece in the pie, because if I missed out in 2008 or 2009, I didn't want to miss out now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. Like, this is here to stay. Like, you're seeing Visa, PayPal, all MasterCard, all these payment gateways start to adopt this. You're seeing banks, Goldman Sachs, all bringing this into their accounts and management. You're seeing the adoption of this, stadiums being renamed, the AFL, like MMA fighting. Everybody's on board.
Yeah.
We know it's here to stay. I'm waiting for this to happen, but I do believe XRP will win the lawsuit, and it's looking better and better each day. But I mean, SEC potentially is about to lose its first lawsuit in the crypto space. That's going to set a precedence for all future attempts to label things as securities. Like, it's already hitting that government level and being taken seriously, where it's actually like not here to be bullied around anymore. So like you said, it's about grabbing a piece of the pie and understanding that it's like the .com boom. Either you learn how to use this and you get on board, or you're going to be left behind. Yeah,
well, it takes someone with deep pockets. And I think out of all the projects there, XRP has to have the deepest pockets, because I think one of the guys, what's his name, Brad something or other, he comes from a family of bankers or something like that. One of the main guys behind XRP, or one of the projects in XRP, because they say it's two different projects. Yeah, it's like
there's like Ripple Labs and what's the other one? But yeah, it's Brad. What's his name? Brad. I think it starts with G or something. His last name. But yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Guarding House or something like that.
Yeah.
But Garling House, I think it is. But anyway, so like it's really cool that you have those guys. Yeah, actually challenging the the SEC, because the SRC are a bit of a bully at the moment in the whole grand scheme of things. But I think it's partly that there is fear in the banks and the governments. You know, like if this,
of course,
like if they don't have control of this money, you know what I mean, or value.
Man, like we talked about with the banks, the banks are offering you 1% to 2%. Do you think it's not there for them to offer more? It's like, of course, there's ways they can do it, but they choose not to because they're lining their pockets. It's why they were so afraid of crypto. It's why, like, I think it was Goldman and Sachs first initially told their fund managers that if anybody adds crypto to one of their customers' portfolios, they'll be fired.
Yeah.
And this was during the period of time where the media was saying it's a bubble, Bitcoin's going to crash, we're going down. And of course, after the dip happens and they load up their pockets, then they're like, okay, we're accepting crypto now. It's like, yeah, what do you expect?
So do you get many people come up to you and ask you, hey, Sham, can you, like, if I give you a couple of grand, can you trade it for me? And, you know, I'll split the profits with you or something?
That will always happen. I've had some, I was surprised by the value of some of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's not something I'd ever look at doing. It's enough in the psychological game to start playing with your own money at a certain level. Like, we talk about not making huge jumps in your account because all of a sudden you go from risking $10 a trade to risking 1,000. You know, it means you've got to lose 100 or win 100 trades of the $10 to actually place one trade's value. And it's no different when you start playing with other people's money. I've like to all of a sudden be taking trades knowing it's not your money on the line, I think would change the way I would trade.
Yeah.
And not for me.
Like, I've had a couple of people say it, and I just turned around and told them, look, I don't want the responsibility of managing your money. You know, I don't want to have to talk, you know, I'll have to explain myself. I don't want to have to explain myself to someone if I lose their money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a game where anything can happen, even though you have all your strategies. You know, like, so yeah, no, I see where you're coming from, but I was just...
I told one once, no, that's not going to work because I want to be able to take like big 6-month, 12-month holidays and, you know, you're going to want to be able to make some money off your money. I'd rather just teach you so if I go on holidays, you can just do it yourself.
That's fair enough. Was it teach a man to fish rather than give him a fish, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So what inspired you to get into training and mentoring and stuff like that within the trading space?
For me, it was when I did psychology, the main objective for me was to create like high school outreach programs. I wanted to be in front of a bigger audience than just doing like therapy sessions or anything like that, which I was considering, or counseling. And when I started in trading and crypto, I went to one of those MBA live events, and I remember the boys standing on stage saying, we are going to be looking for people in the community. We want to find people to step up. We want to be changing thousands of lives. We want to help empower people. And my brain just went tick, tick, tick. Okay, yeah, those are things I'm looking for. And it was just one of those things. Like I said, Donnie helped me out. He backed me up, put my name forward saying, this guy is trading awesome. He's phenomenal. He helps the community. He's got a good way of explaining things. Let's give him a chance. And yeah, luckily enough, the boys were like, let's get on the call, have a chat and take it from there.
How did you meet Donnie?
Through MBA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so pretty much as one of the coaches, mentors, community members, and then just watched him live on stage and was like, oh yeah, I can get along with this guy. It's no nonsense.
All right. So I've got this one question, right? With everything you know now, is there anything you wish you had have known at the beginning that would have helped you become a better trader earlier in your journey? Like it's the whole, if you're an older, could you go back to your child self and tell yourself one thing? Is there anything like that you have that you wish
stop being a stubborn prick that tries to do everything yourself. Like I said, I did it on YouTube, went solo. Even when I first joined MBA, I was like, I'm here to learn, so I'll learn on my own. I'll practice on my own. I'll go trade on my own. And it's like this space, especially when it comes to a community, it's not like a traditional workplace. You're not fighting for promotions. You're not fighting for attention. You're not fighting for a certain contract. It's like any trade opportunity I find, I can share it and everybody can benefit from it. Any trade opportunity another student can find that we highlight, maybe you haven't looked at this or you've missed this or considered, it means more eyes to actually maybe pick up on the thing that's going to save you from getting into a bad trade.
So
it's just pretty much leaning into communities, leaning into education in a way that's not doing it on your own. Don't just try to slug through it and hope that you're going to get it there at the end. It's like, ask for a hand. Yeah. There's people in the space that want to help.
So you had a bit of ego at the start of it and thought you could do it all on your own.
Oh, yeah.
But in the end, you found that being part of a community played a pivotal role or a vital role in your growth. And so what you're saying is you wish you had told yourself, mate, get stuck into the community. Don't try and do it on your own, yeah?
Yeah. You need that reinforcement. You need that support. Otherwise, you are sitting in front of a computer by yourself, probably like hating on yourself when things go wrong and not even celebrating your wins as much as you should when they go right. It's by leaning into a community, actually sharing your progress and being like, I started here, now I'm here and I'm doing this and I'm doing well. My account's growing. I've met people that are in the same space as me. I like trading with them. We hang out. That's what makes this enjoyable as opposed to just another job.
So it's, being part of a community. It's almost like that feeling you had back in high school, learning, being, you don't see it as a community, but you were in a community.
It's a tribe. It's exactly the same.
And you would share your growth with each other, going, hey, I got an A+ here, or I got a B+ here, yeah?
Yeah, exactly the same. Doesn't matter what space we're in. We're naturally a species that wants to be a part of a tribe. We thrive working with people and being in a community. So it's no different when it comes to trading.
Yeah. So my final question is really, what are some tips for beginners besides, being part of a community that you would tell people that were wanting to enter the world of trading from the start? So
trading or crypto in general?
Trading.
So specifically to trading, I think one of the biggest things for me is this isn't a get rich quick scheme. It doesn't happen overnight. It's something like we talk about. It takes a lot of time to practice and get good at, but I guarantee you're not going to find a job that can give you the promotions this can give you in 2-3 years to start earning the money you could be earning. It's uncapped potential, but you need to give it some time. So biggest thing is get started. Start somewhere, educate yourself, and invest in yourself. Like you talked about before.
Yeah.
There's that rule about 10,000 hours to master something. Okay. Trust me, you don't want to spend 10,000 hours on YouTube to try and master this. Go find the person that already spent 10,000 hours, get the shortcut so that you can spend the 600, 1,000 hours to learn what they learned in that 10,000 hours to give you that head start. So then you've just got to implement and practice what you've learned as opposed to sift through hours and thousands of hours of content like any YouTube learner does.
So your thing would be to really connect with people, especially experienced people that are already doing that craft. I think Tony Robbins also says, go out and find the best person in whatever skill you want to learn and, model yourself around them is what he said. But I think last year I'd learned through doing a lot of my shows was that the three things I learned, right, to be successful in anything. And one thing, like, let's just say this without those three is that, it's like 10 years, it's time. You got to give yourself time. But the three things I learned is have a mentor, show me your friends, and I'll show you a future. So you want to be around a community of people that are wanting to grow as traders and just enjoy the journey. And if you do that, you will get there in time and you'll be as successful as you want to be.
I like yours a lot better, mate. You presented that a lot more eloquently than I did. But yeah, essentially that's the principles.
Yeah.
Like you want to enjoy what you do. You want to have somebody who does what you're trying to achieve already. Like there's thousands of people out there who are sharing their thoughts and ideas, but it's a platform where anybody can do that. So you want that quality. So look for that. Find somebody that you connect with and is already doing what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah. So look, if there's anyone that wants to connect with you out there, is there any way to connect with you out there? Do you have any Facebook pages? Are you on Twitter?
Facebook's probably the easiest way. I'm not huge on socials. It's not where I spend a lot of my time. I don't have a YouTube channel or anything like that. No, the time I spend in socials is pretty much in the community besides Facebook. So Facebook, Shamim Agahi is the easiest way to find me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll have a chat to you later, and if you want to put any links out there, we'll do that.
Perfect.
But that's pretty much for today. I just really wanted to thank you very much for taking the time to have a chat with me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, mate. Thanks for having me.
No, you're welcome, mate. And I'll be sharing this with everyone within the NBA community. We've got a pretty good community there, and that's why I've been trying to reach out to a lot of you guys, so I could give back to the community as well, and a lot of people, I've been getting a lot of good feedback about it, and it's a great community because we're not all there to really, put each other down. We're there to empower each other and uplift each other, because we don't all have all the money in the world, and we'd all like to get there. And I think trading is the only game the only thing out there where you don't rely on overheads of a business. You don't need to rely on foot traffic or customers. And as a person or as an individual, you don't need to rely on an employer. At the end of the day, you're only really relying on yourself and having good structure in yourself, like any business owner, and you'll be able to reap the rewards provided you put the time in. Yeah.
Like you're saying, uncapped potential in the trading space. Like as you get good, you add more capital, you can keep growing it and making your wins bigger.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, look, again, thank you very much for your time, Sham.
Pleasure, mate.
And to all the viewers out there, be sure to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner there and smash that like button and show some love. And basically let YouTube know that, we have quality content here, so they share it with more people out there. But from myself, Neil Coutts, and what's that, Sham Agahi?
Yeah, that's the one.
Thank you very much and have a good day.
See you guys.